Welcome to the AA Podcast, our little corner of the web where we are not afraid to discuss tough questions like,
when did nutrition, health, movement, and stress management become alternative medicine?
where we embrace challenges in all aspects of life to become healthier and stronger versions of ourselves.
And where food and movement are the best kinds of medicine, and cooking meals at home is a revolutionary act. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the AA Podcast, and not just any other AA podcast, but our 100th episode. Can you
I
believe
know. I
it?
wish I had some fireworks or something. They're just, yeah. I know. Make our own. Oh my
I
gosh, we're not above
know.
it.
This is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Who would have thunk it? I don't think either one of us thought we'd probably make it
Mm-mm.
past 5. Um,
No,
this is
that
probably the
is
most
true.
consistent thing we've ever done in our lives.
Ever. Ever. Yeah.
Besides our yeah, we are committed. It's basically a marriage, basically, you
Mhm.
know?
My podcast wife, Ashley Olsen. Yes. Yep.
But yes, it's been fun, and so today is going to be a little different. We have some questions that we put together, but honestly, we both want this to be kind of more of a conversation. I hope that you guys can get a sense of uh, our friendship, but also like just kind of just get to know us and feel like you're in the room listening to us just chatting. Um, Hopefully you have a
Yeah.
coffee in hand because we both do. Cheers
Mhm.
to that. And
Cheers.
yeah, but we as always, before we start any episode, we are going to share our weekly Bible verse. And mine is coming from Numbers 6:24 through 26. And it says, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace."
All right, we are the benediction twins today because mine is coming from Jude 1:24 and 25. Now to him who is able to keep you from stumbling and to present you blameless before the presence of his glory with great joy, to the only God, our Savior, through Jesus Christ our Lord, be glory, majesty, dominion, and authority before all time and now and forever. Amen.
Amen. I love it.
Hmm.
Well, Andrea, this is fun.
Yeah.
So basically, every episode leading up to this one, we have been pretty, well, especially you, have been pretty much on an outline form. Like
Hmm.
we
Yeah.
take time to dive into the subject that we're going into, and as much as
Hmm.
we want it to be kind of free flowing, it's pretty outlined for us. And so
It's
today's a little
regimented. Yeah.
different.
Hmm.
Yes, today's a little different, and I think it'll be fine. Everything's fine. But I want to ask you, like, how does it feel to be on our 100th episode?
Okay, I have to be honest with you. You know I love you so much. You're like a sister to me. And I agreed to do this podcast because it's you. And I really did not 2 years ago, I really did not think that this was going to be a thing, but I knew that you had a fire lit underneath you to do this, and I knew you waited until I got through school to spring this on me, which I was eternally grateful for. And so, as a favor to you, I I agreed to do this thing. And honestly, I feel like I have tried to pull the plug a couple of times when I got
You have.
overwhelmed,
You
and
have.
you gently said, "No, no, I do not accept that. We are going to keep going." And so,
It's so
and
true.
yep, and now I can honestly say 100 episodes in, like I feel really grateful for you and for your vision and to get me out of my tunnel vision at the immediacy of the moment and to look to the future and just kind of leaving a legacy of information for people. And I can tell you, since the last time I tried to quit this job, I have had I've had a lot of people tell me that, especially like our recent episodes the last 6 months or so, have really meant a lot to them, and that they have gotten information that has been impactful to their lives. And so, yeah, I wanna thank you, on this 100th episode because this literally would not exist were it not for you. And so, yeah, thanks for dragging me along.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have done it without you, so it's
Well,
a mutual thank
we're
you
we're kind
for
of a package deal.
well,
Mhm,
sludging in the mud with me, but
mhm.
no, it's such a weird feeling because I just looked it up. I kind of forgot about it, but August 19th was our first episode 2 years ago. And so that
Wow,
was 2 weeks ago. And
that's crazy.
so so this episode is kind of monumental. Like we're 2 years
Mhm,
in,
mhm,
100 episodes in. I
mhm,
think this, out of those 2 years, we've only missed 2 weeks of not being able to post, which is pretty
mm.
incredible of doing
Yeah, that really is.
one episode a week.
Mhm,
And as we have, first started, like, I had no idea where it'd go. I just knew that we
mm.
had really good things to talk about. So,
Yeah,
mainly
so
you, I wanted the world to know how brilliant and how impactful not only you have been in my life, but, like,
oh my
how
gosh.
impactful and, what a blessing you are to those that you every person that you encounter, like,
Oh,
literally.
good grief. Stop. We're not doing video on this one, are we? Oh,
Uh,
I wasn't
but,
ready
like,
for that.
no, like,
Oh,
when you meet somebody that's so and I think we both feel this way about each other, but,
mm,
like,
yes.
we just both think
Yeah.
we hold a special place in the world.
Yes. Well, of
And not to
course.
toot our own horn,
I know. It's like the Mutual
but
Admiration Society. It's yeah.
it kinda needs to
Uh,
calm down, but really not
yeah.
really.
Well, so, okay, so tell me this. I wanna know, since this was your brainchild, I wanna know, first of all, what did you think of the name? Because I was pretty stuck on this name. Oh, oh my god, my son has just arrived. Gavin, you wanna say hello to the listeners? We're on episode 100. Come in. Come here. What do you wanna say to the people that listen to your mom and Ashley? Just say, "Pay attention."
Thank you for listening.
This is Gavin Cree. Yeah, he's speechless for the
Thank you for
first time.
supporting me.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
supporting you.
supporting
Thank you
me.
for supporting my lifestyle through listening.
You know we don't get anything for this, right? He's
He's like, "Wait, you do
Cry.
this for fun?"
I think he just realized this wasn't a paid gig. Yeah,
Uh,
so I wanna know, so first of all, I have a couple questions for you. So
oh
first of
gosh.
all, did you ever have any misgivings about the double A as our name? Because I
No,
was
as
pretty
soon
set
as
on
you
that.
said it, it was like, "No, that's pretty freaking cool." I love it. There's
Okay.
just, like, so many connotations that could go with it, like,
Woo!
we're recharging like a double A.
Well, that's true. And also
We're
our
also not double A's.
no, we are not, our cups runneth over. So, we are doubly blessed.
Ah, and
So,
then
yeah,
and then obviously Andrea and Ashley, so the A's. There was
yeah,
just so many fun things about it. I loved
okay,
it. If so,
yeah,
one thing for our listeners, if you're not privy to this and haven't caught on yet, Andrea has the gift of naming things in a weird
ugh.
way. Like it comes to her just kind of naturally. And
Yeah,
so a lot of
I think
times
it's supernatural.
when
Mhm.
I present, like, new ideas for projects and I was like, "What do you think of this name?" I always wanna get her feedback because she just has a good knack for it, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mad
And,
Men,
like
watch out.
yeah, so, like
Mhm.
yeah, I love the double A. I honestly don't I'd have to go back if we even have the notes that we shared maybe on even possible other names.
We did have a couple of other ones
Do
that
you
I did
remember
not
them?
like. Um, I think there was some GPT generated names. And they would be in our chats for sure.
Yeah.
But, uh Yeah, this was the one that you and I came up with.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so yeah, I always kind of wondered that if you wished we'd picked something different or if this was a name that you liked from the beginning.
No, I really did. I liked it.
Mhm,
Like I said, I don't even remember what the other ones were right now.
mhm,
But I did. I liked it.
yeah,
It seemed catchy.
I think it is too.
And like
Mm,
I think when we came up with the name, it just felt natural.
mhm, it does kinda roll off your tongue too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one thing that I think when and who knows if it even has gotten better, but obviously with a new podcast, the searchability of a podcast
mm,
is something, but um I think we've done okay with just our episode namings. So
mm,
that
which
kind of has
you
helped.
come up with all of those.
Yeah. So
That's your
like
baby.
I think that's kind of been helpful for people to find us. And
Mm,
obviously just like with our own businesses, word of mouth
mhm,
is our biggest,
yep,
um, contributor to any type of growth. So,
mhm,
um, yeah, if you're
mm,
listening to this and you're enjoying our podcast and you're on our 100th episode, please do
mhm.
share. So,
Share, yes,
yeah,
find one that impacted you and share away.
yeah.
So I also wanna know, so you had some kind of vision, like, truly you did not even mention this to me. I was in the throes of just like, I am not going to make it. School is terrible. All of this is terrible. Life is awful. And you did not breathe a word of this to me until I got my in fact, I think I sat for my boards and I passed. And I think within 24 hours you had been like, hey, by the way, we're gonna do this podcast. Like I have
You're like,
literally
"What?"
I have been boarded for 1 day. Now here we go.
Yep,
So,
we're doing this
anyway,
thing.
I wanna know, you were very restrained. I would like to know, is this what you thought it was going to be? Because you clearly had some kind of vision in your head, and I don't know what that was, but I'm wondering if we got there or not, or did it change?
No, I think we have. Actually, I probably would say we've surpassed it. Like,
Mm,
um,
mhm,
so to be honest, a lot of my ideas, I think of them and just go for it. Like they're not necessarily things that I've been stewing on for months and years. I think what really brought this idea to my mind was one, I will always wanna be constantly learning, and I
mhm.
knew that there was way so selfishly, I wanted to keep learning from you,
Oh,
but, um, but
same, same, same.
also,
Mhm,
like, we have good banter back and forth, and I
mhm,
think it just felt very natural to be like, "Hey, why are we just keeping these conversations to ourselves when I
mhm,
know others could benefit as well?" And so,
yeah,
and
and I've always said we're
especially
delightful.
we are very delightful. And if you
Mhm.
disagree, you're not delightful. The problem is you.
If yeah, if you can't recognize pure delight, I can't help you. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So yeah, I think, it wasn't even so much of like I had so much to share. I had a lot that I wanted just the listeners to understand about health and
Mhm,
wellness in the sense of you came from a place, in the very beginning. If you haven't already gone back and listened to Andrea's story, but she was deep into, Western medicine,
mhm,
pharmacology, and with her degrees in biology and teaching courses, and
mhm,
then herself getting super sick and
yeah,
realizing Western medicine was not the answer or wasn't the answer at the
mhm,
time, and
mhm,
going and figuring this out on her own to heal herself from the inside out with holistic, non-traditional methods that she had been so ingrained in,
mhm,
and then realizing, okay, I know I need to help others, and then basically
mhm,
sacrificing herself and her family for 6 years to go
Wow.
back to college, get a nursing degree, and then her DNP, and just like hashing out all of this. And then I think, even through your nursing and DNP program, realizing, okay, it's not one way or the highway. There's a mesh of the two worlds that can combine,
Well,
but
I will
also
say I was not a welcome component in my DNP program. I
100%.
yeah, there was a lot of pushback, and I will say that there was not really any appreciation for the way that I saw the world, and not that anybody had to agree with me, which they don't, but I will say that I felt very unwelcome, on
Very.
many
Oh, I
occasions. Yeah,
remember, like, many a
yeah,
times Andrea's like, "I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get kicked out. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna
yeah,
get kicked out."
yeah.
And, you kind of had to hold your tongue while in the DMB program, but on
Mhm,
my side of things, being able to talk to you, I saw where these 2 worlds were gonna be able to combine, where you were
mhm,
learning so much about, the Western medicine philosophy and,
mhm,
methods, and how they could potentially intertwine
mm,
with your
mhm.
functional health perspective that you wanted to, uh, run with once you were
Yeah,
graduated. And
yeah,
so I think it was a beautiful, very hard lesson of, going through those years. But on the other side, I just saw
mm,
this, like this unique individual yourself that had the knowledge of both sides now, and not only just the knowledge but literally the wisdom in and of itself of
mm,
walking through it yourself with
mhm,
your own autoimmune and health issues. So with all that being said, I just saw the world needed to know, like, there needs to be a
oh,
platform, and both of us were horrible with social media, like, we're
mhm.
not the best, but we love to talk. And so it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
why
true.
not
Yeah,
just sit down
yeah,
and talk and
yeah,
create a platform like that, where it feels so
yeah,
natural? Like, this feels so natural.
yeah. No, it totally does, and it felt natural from the beginning. I think I was really surprised. This was a side of you that I had not seen, was the I guess the interviewer. So you made me like I would bring content and you made me feel like I could just sit back and deliver the content and and you made it not seem robotic. You made it not seem like I was lecturing people, which is never what I want to do. Um and so yeah, that was a part of you that I had not seen before. That skill that you have, which,
I hadn't
I
either.
I don't know how you uncover something like that outside the context of a podcast or something like that, but yeah, it was really cool. So, and I know Ashley and I both feel like our paths are ordered and directed by God, and we serve the same God, and so why wouldn't something work out together to use our gifts and talents and abilities? Um,
Well, that's a perfect point too, is like, not only d do you mentally and physically have this ability, and both of us, but we truly believe they were God-given abilities and gifts. And so it would be a disservice of those gifts to not share
mhm.
them with others. And what
Yeah.
a great platform to be able to get it out broader than our little circle of friends
Yeah,
and our
exactly.
and our outreach. But I will say, like,
Mhm.
when we started the podcast, oh, I remember hitting that record button for the first time. I remember us taking deep breaths, and like
I
my
can't
heart was
remember.
my heart was pounding so hard, and
That's funny.
I felt very robotic. I'm sure if I go back and listen to that first episode, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, we sound so robotic." But
Oh,
it's
I don't remember.
but
Ugh.
it was fine. Like, w
Mhm.
my biggest thing that I've learned in life is you'll never know unless you try. And so if we never would have just put ourselves out there vulnerable, we would have
Mhm.
never been able to grow confident in any of the aspects that we are in, not just podcasting, but like
Yeah.
if I never put myself in the position of personal training, I remember the first time I ever personal trained, I was so nervous. Like,
Mm.
like everything had to be like written out. And if it didn't go according to plan, according to how I had written it down, I didn't know what to do. But as
Yeah.
those muscles begin to get stronger,
Mhm.
we become way more comfortable in not only our knowledge but our ability. And so
Yeah.
just like with starting this podcast, it was completely foreign. I remember, we had no idea even how to record. um
Still don't.
Still don't. And yeah.
No, you do, but I don't. Yeah, no, and you learned, like, you found this program that we use, and you figured out how to stitch things together, and how to add our intro loop, and how to, do intros and outros, and how to, when we have a guest on, you had to figure all of that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have learned a lot just on the fly, because of the necessity of, having other people join us, or technical difficulties or issues. And yeah, you figured so much stuff out in this space.
Yeah.
But that's kind of one of your strong suits as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you never know unless you just start clicking buttons and
Hmm.
figure it
Yeah.
out.
Well,
uh,
yeah, and I hope that that's encouraging to people. Like, if there's something that's on you, if you feel like there's something that you're equipped for, and or even if you're not, if you like, sometimes the equipping comes as you go. Like, you have to take that first step before, before your talents come to the surface. But yeah, just stepping out in faith, and just, hey, I've got this dream for a reason. I was built this way. I was built with this inside me. Yeah, I would just encourage you, man, you're never too old. Go do it. Go do
just go
it.
do
I mean,
it.
there's nothing but time.
And
So.
I think the one thing that I've learned in my life and seeing others who kind of struggle with the confidence to just go for it is um, finding somebody that will believe in you more than yourself.
Mhm. Yes.
And I think that's what we are great at for each other is I believe in
Mhm.
you so hard, you believe in me so hard,
Mhm.
and together we can make something happen. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love mentoring people whether they want it or not. Oh my
We
gosh.
connect on that. Yes,
Yeah.
we do. Yeah.
People need to know. Just
That's
kidding.
right. I know. I know.
But that's the big thing,
Yeah.
and that's why I love what I do is that I see in people the ability of,
Yeah.
whether they can lift something before they think that they
Mhm.
can,
Yeah.
or they can do a movement before they think they can. And
Mhm.
I also see, in people a gift or an ability to do something that they don't necessarily feel completely ready or equipped for. And the
Yep.
biggest thing that I can tell you is you will never know and you will always say, "What if?" So, in
Mhm.
my mind, why don't you just say, "I tried it, it didn't work out. That's okay, but
Yeah.
at least I tried." And
Yeah.
so that was kind of my mindset with the podcast. I was like, I honestly didn't know if it was going to work out. Um,
Mhm.
Especially, we're both very busy people, and we'll get
Mhm.
into this more, but we're in completely different stages of life than we
Mhm.
were 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
had we known where we were going to be today, but 2 years ago, we probably wouldn't be talking. Uh,
Yeah.
we wouldn't
Absolutely
even be
not.
talking about 100th episode because we
Yeah.
wouldn't have even had a first.
Right.
So I think that just is a testament of like, you know what? You have the space and time to do it now, go for it if it works out and it feels good and
Mhm.
it's something that brings you joy, but also you feel like
Purpose.
you're creating, yeah, uh
Mhm.
a purpose that is beyond just you.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's I would say, like, the biggest surprise for me of the podcast was when we started getting inquiries for interviews.
Oh, yeah. That
Like, I
that
remember
I felt like it was a mistake. Like
I
like, maybe
legit, and the first
Mhm.
person and this is one of my top 3 episodes,
Mhm.
the first person to ever reach out to us was somebody that I've met in person at a conference, and always have seen very highly in the space.
Mhm.
Um, it was
Yeah.
Vince Pitstick. Like, I was like,
Yep.
"There's no freaking way his people are contacting."
Yeah.
I legit was like, "Well, how much does he cost? We can't afford it.
I know. Ashley
Like,
was
what do you
I
want
know.
from us,
Like
basically?" And they're like, "No, he just wants to come on your podcast and talk." And I'm like, "No way." Like,
It
"No
was not
way."
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
it
I
was a
remember
delight.
Yeah, no, it was he was incredible. He was so gracious and treated us like we were big, like we were bigger than we are, and just such a nice guy. And such a visionary too. And so to be able to have somebody on and willing to give of his time to a small show, and yeah, it was amazing, and he cast a vision that day that I thought was really incredible in
Yeah,
this space. So,
for
yeah,
sure.
I will always be grateful to him. I remember you mentioning his name, and to me, this was years ago, because he's been sort of bigger in the bodybuilding spaces, in the
Mhm.
personal training spaces,
Yep.
and I wasn't really familiar with those circles until I met Ashley, and so yeah, we've been to some conferences together, and
I'm
in
pretty sure he was at that conference we went to.
I think he was too. I think he
Yeah.
was too. And yeah, for when you mentioned that that's who had reached out to us, I thought somebody was joking.
I
So, yeah.
legit I same, yeah.
Mhm.
So that was a great big growing,
Mhm.
point for us in the podcast too, because at that point we had never interviewed anybody, and
Right.
so it was just the 2 of us, and so we had to figure out I don't even know how to bring on a guest, and so,
Yeah.
and one, we don't really have a podcast room recording, as you can see if you're gonna
Right.
see some clips of this, um, but it worked out and it was great.
Mhm.
And we've had since then amazing guests.
Yeah. Yeah,
The other
contributed
one that
heavily.
really that stood out for me was Dr. Andrew Mater. She was a
Mhm.
brilliant mind. I hope that we can have
Yeah.
her on the podcast again.
Yeah,
Um,
she was great.
and kind of being a little nostalgic, I guess. That's probably not the right word, um but I'm just proud of our first episode because we
Oh,
have a
I love
first
it.
episode.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
we wouldn't be
Without
sitting
one, there's not
here.
100.
Yeah, and so, like, we
Mhm.
took a big step,
Mhm.
got over a ton of nerves, and
Yeah.
we just kinda fumbled and figured it out, and so, yeah, I'm just really proud that we have that first episode, and,
Mhm.
the other one that I know that touched me a lot too was, like, just the hormone I mean, just
Mm.
all the ways to look at just, like, the human body is just always fascinating to me, and
Yeah.
not a most of the time, I can't regurgitate anything that you say, but, like, I'm still
You do
learning.
fine.
Like, I know it, but sometimes it's not, like, super fluid. But that's
Mhm.
another thing that I'm also proud of is going back and listening to some of those first episodes, how many times I would say, or, have those
Me too.
pauses,
Yeah.
but audible pauses when
Mhm.
now I can kind of take a step back, have a breath, and not have to have those filler words. So it's made me a better speaker and it's
Yeah, for
caused
sure.
me to be able to think through things a little bit more clearly.
Mhm.
So I'm still
Mm.
not the best. I'm not going to go on any speaking engagements, but I do feel way more confident just in speaking.
Yeah, no, that comes through.
Yeah.
That definitely comes through. And for myself, I've spent probably close to 2 decades teaching, and lecturing, and imparting information in that way, and I find it's just so this format is so enjoyable. Like I
Mhm.
almost think so I'm doing some adjunct teaching for Boise State right now in their DNP program, and so I'm doing lectures on the class I'm teaching is advanced physiology and pathophysiology, and I I wonder, like, how much more would students get out of this if our lectures were kind of in a podcast form? And I might actually I might actually drag Ashley into some of my she doesn't know any of this, until just now, but yeah, I'm just thinking, like, podcasting is such a great way to learn. I feel like so many people have received at least a bachelor's education in all kinds of topics, right? Like my son taught himself how to day trade off of YouTube videos. Like and
Exactly.
he understands more about finance than I ever will and from YouTube videos. So like
Uh-huh.
literally the Alexandrian library at our fingertips in the form of videos on YouTube and podcasts and just free information
Yeah.
far and wide. So yeah, I am definitely kind of rethinking how I get information across to students, just to kind of meet them more where they are, this younger generation.
I
But yeah, that's
agree.
been a different thing for me is how do you provide information not to a classroom full of medically bound students, but to to the general public, right? And it's a different format than in a clinic room, right? In
Mhm.
the context of a one-on-one visit, but it's also not a classroom, and so it's sort of a hybrid in between. And yeah, I think that's one of the places where we've really grown is making sure that we're on track, that we're not chasing too many rabbit trails, but at the same time still feeling very organic and back and forth.
Right.
So
I think that was a big thing too that I noticed with you in the beginning was it was very you were going back to your teaching
yes.
method,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
as we've got better with the conversation piece and being a
Mhm.
little bit more organic, I saw you
Yeah.
come out as more of a like a conversational teacher
Yeah.
than
A
you
lot
were just
looser.
a
Mhm.
yeah, like a white instead of a whiteboard teacher.
Yeah. I do love a
S
whiteboard.
Yes.
Right.
Which they are good,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I think
but
that was a nice growing spot for you and just kind of
yeah,
having that
yeah.
epiphany of like, "Okay, maybe I should rethink your traditional teaching of
Mhm.
students and meet them, like you said, where they are in this
Yeah,
generation." And I think
yeah.
people do especially with the technology that is out there and the
Mhm.
information that is literally at our fingertips like you were talking about,
Yeah,
there has to be
yeah.
another way
Right.
because they're getting it another way, so
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
and
you
there's
just
so
have
many
to
things competing for attention, right?
yes.
So you have to make your information bites palatable
Mhm.
and so that people aren't having to work so hard to digest the information that you're trying to give them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what would
Yeah.
you say your top 3 episodes would be?
Well, so hormones is definitely in my list.
Mhm.
And I have to say like my top 3 I was kind of looking at it from the standpoint of what did I get the most feedback from people on? What were
Mm.
people saying were impactful to them? Did we did we either touch or change lives? And so these 3 kind of floated to the surface. I've had the opportunity to speak here locally a couple of times now, and I get people telling me, "Hey, this really meant a lot to me." And
Mhm.
so hormones is definitely on that list because, our audience is primarily women, although
Yep.
we've got some male listeners. Shout out Jonathan.
Yeah.
But love me some Jonathan. But yeah, it a lot of it is women who are just kind of waking up to the fact that oh, I don't have to go quietly into that menopausal goodnight. Like I can fight. I can fight this and I don't have to suffer and I don't have to be in pain all the time and
Mhm.
I don't have to age prematurely.
Yes.
And so yeah, and boy, if if you would have told me before we did those episodes that it was going to have that kind of impact on people, we would have done this 5 years ago. But who knew? Right. And I think it's just this is the time that this
Mhm.
stuff is starting to bubble up in the public vernacular and in the public zeitgeist. And so, yeah, I'm just really happy to be a one tiny little voice, our tiny little show in a sea of information, but we're touching some lives, and that's really cool to me.
Mhm.
And then second, I think second was the primary care and insurance episode. Okay, so those are
That was
two
a good
separate
one.
things.
Yeah.
So the primary care episode Ashley happened to be at my house. So for the first
Which
time,
I
we got to
apologize
record.
now for the audio.
And the audio, so here we were. We're not, hundreds of miles apart from each other. We're literally in the same room. And the audio is the worst that we have ever published, except that the information is so good.
So
Um, I
good,
have
so
heard
good.
from I've heard from other providers that they tell their patients to listen to that show because as a provider, you don't have time
Mhm.
to educate your patient, but your heart is that I'm not trying to financially break my patients. That is the absolute last thing that I want to do. And insurance figures so heavily into people's lives. And so just giving some tips and tricks. And then Dee kind of piggybacked on that episode. Do you remember Dee Wary?
Oh,
Love
yes.
her. So
Mhm.
she
We
talked
will have
about
her back.
insurance. Yes, we will. Yes.
Mhm.
We got to get her on the calendar, by the way. But yeah, so Dee brought just a wealth of information that I think, just in terms of being a consumer advocate, I think those were great shows. And
Yes.
then finally, my story that Ashley made me do, I really did not want to do that.
I've
But
been trying to get her to tell her story for 8
she
years.
yeah, she wanted me to do it on social media and then finally if you recall, Ashley did her story first. And so
Mhm.
then that kind of left me to hang and do mine then.
Yep.
Um, Otherwise, we were going to be lopsided. So I did, and I just decided I was just going to be as transparent as I possibly could. And I didn't want, like, you never want to be the product or the object of somebody's voyeurism, right? So that they're just looking and staring at the car wreck without learning anything from it. So but I do feel like people learned.
Mm.
And I've had so many people tell me, "Oh my gosh, I listened to your story and there were so many things in there that are just like me." And that really touched me. And maybe once again, grateful to Ashley because she saw it before I did. But yeah, there's been some tough things, but I mean, if you've got a faith, if you've got an understanding that God works all things for the good of those who love him. And
Mhm.
so those things are worked for good and they can be used and tooled and refashioned in the lives of someone else to maybe help them along and to help them to avoid some suffering. So, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of you for sharing that because I knew parts of, I've gotten bits and pieces of your stories over the years, but it was never in a consecutive form as that. And I even learned some things.
Oh.
Um, but no, I think it's very
Mm,
important for people to understand where you come from because what
mm,
they see, what they meet is where you're at now, and they have no idea how
right.
you got there. And
Yeah, that's true.
so if they don't know the struggles that you've actually been, it's kind of like,
Mhm,
when you are on Instagram and you have your favorite influencer and they're like, well, they just got lucky. No,
mm,
they probably didn't. Like they probably had
right.
many, many years of grunge, grinding, and
Yeah, and
hardship,
setbacks.
and
Mhm.
yeah, and setbacks and failures that you have no
Yeah,
clue about because
yeah,
you have just found them in their glory stage. And
right.
so, not saying that we're in our glory stage, but
Mhm.
there, but in a sense we are because we have overcome a ton of
Yeah.
hardships and our obstacles individually in our own
Mhm.
lives. And
Yeah.
we don't have to always go into details of those. And that's what I told Andrea
Right.
with her story is like, I'm not
Right.
looking for the dirt. Like, I'm not looking for the
Yeah, and
details. I'm,
I left the dirt out because, again,
it
it
doesn't
wasn't a
matter.
voyeurism, it was just to explain, I have been there, and it's been really tough, and
Yeah.
this is yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
so
I'm the same, like, a
yeah,
lot of people will say things to me about, like, certain things in my life, and I'm like, "Yeah, but y," and I'm thinking to myself, you have no idea."
right.
But that's okay,
Right,
and that's okay, and
yeah,
that's not usually it's not ever the time and place to share those things, but I think it's
yeah,
important, especially with your story, like, people understand, "Oh, she just didn't fall into functional health because it was a fad thing." No, you literally lived it out because you had to
yeah,
find another
yeah,
way. And I think that was super awesome. So I appreciate you sharing
yeah.
that story. And, speaking of the episodes that you hear about, I know the one that people bring up to me all the time is the autoimmune episodes, like the very beginning
Oh,
ones that we did. I think there's
yeah.
3, 4, 5, and 6 maybe.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I think people had no idea the
Mhm,
depth of what autoimmune consists of and
mhm,
like the
mhm,
nutritional lifestyle changes that literally have to happen in order
mhm.
to have any sense of healing. And I think you just brought it to a place for me too. I mean, I don't have autoimmune, but
Yeah,
um
but you deal with so many people who do.
I do. And so,
Mhm.
when I first met Andrea, um I was definitely more on the macro
Oh,
hardcore train, like, calories are calories. And that is something that I'm grateful for from her is just showing me how nutrition can truly heal from a medical standpoint and not just get the body you want because you can get the body you want most likely by eating a Snickers a day. And there is an influencer, So He Fit, that literally did a
mhm.
bodybuilding show, and
Ah,
her goal was to eat a
mhm.
Snickers a day, and she did it. It was very
Yeah.
hard, especially towards the end, but she fit in a Snickers every day. So yes, you can get the physique you want, but that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily equal the health. And that's another
Right.
thing that I am passionate about too is I don't necessarily look like a fitness influencer. Like
Mm,
I
I see
I'm
what you're
strong.
saying.
I
Yeah.
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 I'm not dissing on my physique at all. I love my body, but
Yeah.
like you see those
Yeah.
shredded
Yeah.
athletes. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not shredded,
It
and that's because I like my food and I enjoy having a little cushion around it.
that's
So,
because that's right. That's
so
right.
so my big
Yeah.
passion too is like just having that balance where you can still be strong, get
Mhm.
muscle, have health from the inside out, and still
Yeah.
appreciate how you look too. But that's a
Yeah.
tangent. But yeah, the autoimmune episodes, I thought those were very eye-opening for a lot of people. And I remember when they first published, like people were just like their mind had been
Mm,
blown. They were just
mm.
so thankful for that information. So if you haven't
Yeah.
listened to those, highly recommend you
Yeah.
going back and listening to those. And if it's been a while, like myself, I would encourage all of us to go back and listen to them because I
Mhm.
bet we have forgotten a lot of that. But
Well, and I just wanna put a plug out there too. If you're a regular listener to this show and, undoubtedly you have some questions about something health related, um, please feel free to reach out to us. We've had questions, we've answered listener questions, we have done episodes based on listener questions. And so, yeah, if you're a friend of the show and you've been listening, by all means, if there is an area that you feel like, gosh, this would be really helpful to me if I could have a better, broader understanding of X, Y, or Z,
mhm,
then I guarantee you that will help someone else as well. And so, yeah, reach out, let us know. Hey, could you guys do an episode on this?
absolutely.
And we would be happy to put that together.
Yes.
Yep.
We are always looking for feedback, and
Yeah.
and we've said this multiple times, but we want the episodes to be beneficial to our listeners. Like,
Mhm.
we don't want to just be another fill of space because you
Right.
have plenty of that.
That's pointless. Yeah.
Yeah, where can we help you in your health and fitness journey? So,
Mhm.
okay, kind of switching gears.
Okay.
Um so I mentioned that we are in completely different spaces in our
Mhm.
lives than we were 2 years ago. So 2 years
Yeah.
ago, you had just had your first summer off of school. I think you were actually just finishing up your clinical hours.
Yep. I
You had
had my
just
clinical hours
finished
all
your
that summer.
board.
Mhm. Mhm.
You were actually supposed to go work for a practice that was like an hour
Mhm.
away,
Huh? Yep. And
and
that kind of
things
didn't
just
work
started
out.
falling apart on that
Yep.
end,
Yep.
literally. And you had a calling from God to go stop by another place in town,
Literally walk in and hand them a resume,
old
old school.
school,
Yep.
applying for job.
Yep.
They called you the next day.
Yep, for an interview, and then I was hired, and I started very soon after that. So, actually, I believe I was hired before I was boarded. Um,
You were,
is that
yes,
right?
I think
Yeah, anyway,
so.
it's tough to remember the timeline, but yeah, I did that for um oh gosh, a year and 9 months, something like that.
Hmm.
Um and and yeah, in a very different place now. But at that time 2 years ago, just coming off that school journey that took, oh my gosh, took everything I had, um, and everything I had just to stay in the program. It was just like this existential dread every single month that would go by, wondering if I was gonna be allowed to remain in the program. So yeah, that took some time to recover from, and I honestly, I still feel like I am recovering from that.
Hmm.
It was a really long road. It was a really long road. Um, I'm grateful for the education that I got. I feel like I'm a very sound and safe and effective provider, and so I will always be grateful for the education. But yeah, it was really tough.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so where were you at that time? I think our relationship was mostly about me at that point. Mostly me crying on the phone to you. So, yeah,
So
where were you at?
we had moved to Evergreen a year
Ah,
prior. So
okay.
we just
Yeah.
celebrated last week our 3 years here in Evergreen.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so we were in the depths of home renovation. And I think
Yes,
I had
that's
just
right.
personally come up for air on,
Mhm.
living in literal construction zone. We were
I
still had a
remember
lot
that.
to do, but we had finally been able to move upstairs because we were living in the basement.
Yeah.
The unfinished basement. It's just, yeah. And it's still
Yes.
unfinished, if you're wondering,
Ah,
but
that's
we
okay.
have plans. It's fine.
Your house is beautiful.
But
Yeah.
we're putting the finishing touches on the upstairs,
Mhm.
and I was still training full time at Active Lab in Broomfield, so I was still
Yeah.
driving 40-50 minutes
Yeah.
down in the mornings, about 3 or 4 times a week. Let's see.
And
Oh, I
throughout the
think
winter.
that was the summer of George. That was the summer of George for Christian, where he had quit his job.
Oh.
Remember that?
Oh, yes.
And so
Yes.
that was so I think I was driving down about 4 times a week,
I think you were too.
and,
Yeah.
it was kinda stressful, but,
Yeah.
it was all good. And then, yeah, so I was training. I had a very full load. God blessed me
Mhm.
with a lot of clients at that time. And then, so yeah, that's where I was. I was training, at Active Lab, and we were finishing house projects and still
Yeah.
kind of figuring out life, that looked like for us in
Well,
Evergreen.
and what was going on with the fur kids too? I think that was a source of stress and pain. And when did you lose? Ghost
Well,
Rider
we
and
lost Ghost Rider and Phoenix in 2022, so before we moved to
really?
Evergreen. Yeah.
Why was I thinking that was around that time? Maybe it's all mashing together. But yeah, those were your kids. Those were Ashley doesn't have any regular kids. So dog kids are her kids. And that was tough time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think too, we had just let's see, that was 2 years ago, so that was 23. So we had just gotten Raven, because we had
Okay.
lost Ghost Rider and Phoenix a year and a half prior, and so we had
Okay.
just gotten a Raven,
Mm-hmm.
and so just figuring all that out, which it worked out great because, um, Christian was able to train her like 24/7, which was amazing,
Yeah.
and
She's
now
such a
she's a
great dog.
freaking awesome dog. So,
Yeah.
um, that was really good. So yeah, that's where I was at, and so yeah, and so now, kind of fast forward,
Yeah,
um
when was Carve's first day? So Ashley has her own fitness studio. If you haven't listened to Ashley's story, go back and listen to that. She's just kind of a dynamo. She is a force of nature and is now imposing her will at Carve Fitness in Evergreen. So yeah, when did you open the doors of Carve?
So officially, we opened the doors November 1st. So we're coming up on
Mm,
our first anniversary of that. However, I
mhm.
didn't publicly really open the doors until January
Yeah.
3rd was my open house. So
Yeah.
that's kind of when I'll celebrate my first year,
Mm,
each year. But yeah, it wasn't even a thought until really we had finished the upstairs, and that was in June, July of
mm,
24, sorry, of
mhm.
24. And man, the years just kind of meshed together.
Don't they?
But so
Weren't you and your husband just, like, walking around and saw this place?
so when we first moved to Evergreen, just kind of checking things out, even, checking out gyms and spaces, this place had popped up in our search.
Mhm,
And both of us agreed like, hey, this would make a great studio. We are not in that space right now because we're getting ready to do full blown renovation on our house. And so
mhm,
that was our focus. And so once the house renovations were kind of on a back seat and we could take a breather, the space opened up again, you know.
mm,
And so
mhm.
Christian was like, "You want to go see it?" And I was like, "Sure. I mean, never hurts to go look. Like, we'll see." And as soon as we walked in, it was just kind of like, "Oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
We can make it. Like this can be a thing." And so, what was going on? We were going on a trip. I don't even remember where we were going. But anyway, we were headed on a trip somewhere. And so,
Probably
mm,
Mexico.
maybe it doesn't, I don't remember. It wasn't it anyway, it doesn't matter. We were headed out of town. And so, we hired somebody to come in and paint, and then we just started ordering flooring and equipment, and we were able to get a free month of rent. So the month of October, we just literally busted our butts to get this
Mhm.
space
Yeah, you
put
did.
together. And we were gone a lot. Again, I can't remember where we were going, but we were gone a lot. And so come November 1st was literally the first day I had clients. I
Mm.
shifted all of my Broomfield clients, and qu- you know, it's always quote unquote funny how things work out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had people kind of phasing out of the Broomfield space, and I had people
Mhm.
phasing in into the Evergreen space, and it was just like,
Yeah.
"Okay, there's definitely something going on here, so we kinda just need to
Yeah.
lean in and trust." And so, yeah, we did, and, I to this day, I'm still flabbergasted. I have no freaking clue how how it's possible that we are so
Okay.
it's just
Okay, so
crazy. It's just
for
awesome.
those playing along at home, I know how this is happening. So what what Ashley's strength is, and if you're someone like this, if you're in the fitness space, or you're in the health and wellness space, just wherever you are. If you're a community builder, I have a couple of community builders in my life. Ashley is a number one, Sierra, you're number two. Like you guys, Ashley puts communities together and she puts people together in spaces and in situations where they need each other, sometimes to survive her classes, but often it's to encourage each other and cheerlead each other. And so when she puts those relationships together within her larger community, they stick and people want to be there. And so that's why people are coming. It's because you create such a warm and welcoming and exciting place that is so encouraging, where women are just like, oh my gosh, I can do so much more than I thought that I could do. And you walk out of Car Fitness thinking like you can pick up your car and carry it home. So it's a beautiful place to be. I've had the privilege of being there. February. I was there in February. Isn't that crazy? That was so
Yep.
long ago. So yeah, I had the privilege of being there in February, and I just it's when you see somebody you love doing something that they love, it just is so magical to see them in their element. And Ashley is one of those people that boy, if you can find a friend that would just as soon you do well than themselves, that's who she is. She pushes everybody around her up. And to see her succeed so wildly is just like, it just takes my breath away. And I'm so proud and I'm so grateful to be along the way, front row seat in the journey. And it's just been remarkable to watch how God has just opened the floodgates on Car Fitness. And so yeah, super proud of you, friend.
I
You're doing it.
I appreciate you, and appreciate you being one of my probably the biggest
Mm,
cheerleaders. And it's always it's really important. So kind of back to what Andrea was saying is like finding that person that can be a community builder, but
mhm.
also know that community builder needs people in her life to
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
along and say, "Hey, you can do this. I know it's hard. I know it's overwhelming. Take a
Yeah.
couple breaths. If you need to just kind of brainstorm and dump some things, like I'm all
Yep.
ears," and that's who Andrea has been for me. And she not only she not only is a wealth of knowledge, but she can bring out the best of people too. So as much as she wants to uplift me, I want to uplift her as well. But
Mm.
she's been a huge reason of why I'm still in the game.
Well,
But
you can't stop now.
no, I can't. No, but like it's just been fun. It's just been so cool
Mhm.
to see what you're truly capable of. And so
Mm.
speaking of, like, you're in a whole nother space and you're kind of in that
Yeah.
transition zone that I was
Whew.
when I started
Yeah.
carve. And so you're going through those growing pains that I experienced
Yep.
and still am going through. But
Mhm.
those first couple months of owning your own thing, like legit.
Yeah.
So I've had
Yeah.
my own business for 11 years
Mhm.
technically, but
Mhm.
I have
Yeah.
never had my own space and that
Yeah.
full responsibility of, like, I don't know, it's a lot different.
It's
So
heavy.
it's
Yeah.
it's definitely heavier, but also it comes with some sense of freedom that you can't explain
Yes.
as well. And so
Yes.
you're kind of in that zone right now of, like, kind of
Mhm.
figuring things out, like, and
Yeah.
so big shout out to Andrea. She officially saw her very first
Yep.
own patients yesterday in her
Yep.
own
That's right.
space,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
that's pretty freaking exciting. How did that feel?
Yeah. It felt great. So, fortunately, the one patient that I saw. So I had some telehealth patients yesterday, quite a few, and then I had an in person patient yesterday who is also happens to be a friend of mine, and so she's in a business group with me, and it was just wonderful. So she's also very forgiving of the fact that we're still moving in. We're still getting things figured out. I was going to share the space with someone, and now it turns out I'm on the lease myself, which is great. Like this is the best possible outcome here. And so
Mhm.
yeah, it's just it's fantastic. And I know what you mean about that kind of sense of freedom because when you work for someone else, even if you have a license that you're practicing under, you still want to give that employer what they are paying for, right?
Mhm.
And so I've always had a sense of responsibility that if I'm going to work for somebody else, I need to toe the line on what their expectations are, right? It's
Right.
their business, it's their
Yeah.
baby. And so it's a different sense, and it's definitely very freeing to be able to practice and to be in your own space and to say, "Hey, you know what? This is the way that I'm going to do things, and this is what's important to me. These are the things that I'm going to highlight, and this is how
Mhm.
I'm going to run the show."
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And
it's
I think
great.
it's so important because every phase of our journey, I
Mhm.
believe, builds us up to for the next, right? We're always
Oh,
constantly
yeah,
learning.
without a
And
doubt.
so, like, the space that you were in prior to was an amazing opportunity to see how
Yep.
something was ran. And
Mhm.
you take the good and the bad and you say,
Yeah.
okay, this is what I want to implement into my space. And I did the same.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I had great role models, and
Mhm.
it wasn't just a copy paste, but it was a
Right.
take it, and I can see how things were ran, and I loved it, and these are the
Mhm.
things that I am gonna take into my next space,
Yeah.
and we'll continually do that. Like, we're if you're
Yeah.
not constantly growing, then what's the point, right? But,
Yeah.
and
You
so,
have
like,
to
you
be.
you have to go through those growing pains. You have to kinda
Mhm.
get into the trenches, get your hands dirty again, if you will,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, it's gonna be super awesome. I have a feeling you will be busting out of the seams just like I am,
Yeah.
sooner than you
Yeah.
think, and, um, yeah, so
Yeah.
what is next? Like, what is kind of where you want this space and where you want to be?
Yeah, so, I gosh, that's such a good question, Ashley. I think the answer is twofold. Look at you springing this on me. Yeah, I think I because
Let's
okay,
go and
listen,
have that brainstorming session right now.
yeah, I'm gonna ask you the same thing, so it's coming.
Mhm,
But yeah, I think the next steps are twofold. One, we're getting our insurance contracts in place to where,
mhm,
we can see have a real burden for seeing people in my community. The place where I live is not full of a, a ton of really, really wealthy people. And so I love my community. I love being a part of this place. And I feel a real burden for being able to functionally treat people in this area and allow them to use their insurance because
mhm,
I mean paying cash for medical services is difficult and it's a strain for people, and when
mhm.
you've got insurance, you should be able to use it, right? So
Yep.
so we're contracted with the major carriers here in Idaho, and I'm going to build up that family practice side of things, but also I'm really excited about the cash services side of my practice, which is the longevity counseling, the peptide counseling, the IVs and injectables, and those kinds of fun things that are just kind of icing on the cake, right? So if you're doing an awful lot right, and you're training and you're eating right, and and you just want to treat yourself like to a Myers IV or to a,
Mhm.
just boost your energy or boost your recovery. I want to help with those. Those are the really fun things to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I we're kind of nailing down our schedule right now. People seem to be loving Saturday visits. And so, I think there's a need there. I think there's a
Mhm.
need for some kind of off hour appointment availability. And so, so people don't have to miss work for that
Yeah.
because it's already a hassle to try and go to the doctor's office. And so we want to make it as accessible for people as we can.
I love that.
So yeah, that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, and, like, having to pull your kids out, getting off work, like, it's a
Exactly.
whole thing.
Yeah, and so if you can get your kids' annual physicals done on a Saturday and then, not have to disrupt your weekly life, then I think that's a good service to bring to the community too.
That's
So,
so awesome.
how about you, friend? What's next for you, bursting at the seams?
Yes.
Mhm.
Um, for me, it's really about getting honed in on building even more of a community and
Mm.
serving my
Yeah,
community too. So
yeah.
I have an amazing group of ladies already that are training at
You
Carve,
sure do.
and we
Mhm.
just recently started mountain biking groups together.
Mm.
So I'm
Love
super
it.
excited about that. We had a ride yesterday that was super fun, and we have a ride on Tuesday that we're going to do. So Tuesday
Mm,
nights are one of my freer nights, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so, doing some community rides with the ladies.
mm,
Anybody and everybody is welcome. You can be brand new to mountain biking, you can be a pro, and
mhm.
you can be part of Carve, or you can just be somebody that heard about it. You
Uh-huh.
are more than welcome. So, and no, there's no sales pitch. There
Right.
is no, it's not a catch and lure.
Right. No, it's
No,
it's part of your it's part of see, and you just do this so effortlessly. Like this is a community building activity, but you're so genuine in it that I don't even think all the ways that that you're putting people together and building community. So, yeah, I think that's so awesome and I've learned so much from you in terms of how to do that and in fact, I plan on incorporating some of your things that you naturally do that don't come naturally to me. I plan on doing that here to create health communities here as well.
that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I think that's awesome.
And I just kind of took a bigger step with the business. I already mentioned I'm not the best at social media, so I've hired somebody to let's see. We're going to do a test run to see
Excellent.
how
Okay.
we can get more consistent on that.
Mm.
I don't think
Mhm.
that's where it's not. Kind of back to where Andrea said. My passion is being in front of people, and so
Mm.
it is a grind for me to think of posts,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
instead of trying to force it, I'm gonna hand it off and give that to somebody
Good
else that
girl.
can be, hopefully more, uh,
Yeah.
efficient.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big step.
That's
I'm
awesome.
also, we are finessing some things on the business side of things, and looking ahead, just, hopefully in the near future if something comes about, but also just being prepared of expanding. So
Mhm.
it would be
Yeah, because you are
amazing.
literally bursting at the seams.
All of the prime times are just taken right now,
Mhm.
and the days that I used to be less full are getting full. So I'm looking at having other trainers train some of my classes, which is
Mhm.
freaking awesome. And that's another big passion I have, is seeing other trainers succeed in the space
Mhm.
because I mean, just in the health practitioner world, people
Mhm.
are dropping off like flies because you get so burned out. So
Right. Right.
I'm not saying I have the way, but see a way of not of serving the people that you want to serve
Mhm.
without
Mhm.
just completely burning yourself out, and also being proud of the profit that you can make too. Um, and that's not
Right.
why I'm in it. Um, I think you have to have a heart
Yeah,
you have a
for
heart
sure.
of serving people. I have a heart for
Mhm.
serving people and seeing people succeed. But also at the end of the day, you have to make some money. So,
Right. Yeah.
realizing that you can have best of both worlds
Yep.
and not be complete. I've seen gym people and they are working 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and it's like you
Mhm.
can't sustain that. I know you
No, you can't.
think you can, and it's
Mhm.
the way that it should be, but no, you cannot sustain that. Your relationships, your health, your own health will deteriorate
Yeah.
and die.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
it's true.
so how do you as a trainer and business owner
Mm.
delegate those responsibilities, and so I'm learning that myself in the moment of
Mhm.
delegating some of those things, but I'm figuring it out, and it won't be perfect. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, but,
Yeah.
just realizing that you can't do it all is a big
Right.
thing, and it's scary
Yeah.
to spend the money and put it out there, but, it has to be done at some point. So that's kind of where
Yeah.
we're at, and, I'm looking to hopefully get some, finessing on things where, like I said, to expand, whether that's just to another
Mhm.
bigger space, so multiple classes can be happening at the same
Mhm.
time, so those prime times can be, double fold, if you will, but,
Mhm.
also potentially, just having a gym space where we can,
Mm.
have people come in maybe
Drop in.
24/7,
Yeah.
and we'd have the personal training side, the small group side, but that would be separate, but then have a gym
Mhm.
space too. So that's kind of where we're kind
Mm.
of looking at things. And who knows? Maybe there will be a car
Exciting.
fitness near you wherever you're living. Um, I mean that
Get
those are
out
big dreams,
here.
but
Yeah.
I think, I know there is a need for a women's only space where
Mhm.
women can feel confident. I multiple times this week I've had new clients come in and be like, I would have never tried this at the rec center or at the gym because
Mm.
I would have been embarrassed by the
Right.
less weight that I'm doing, or
Right.
trying to figure out form and being super self-conscious of,
Mhm.
people just watching me, which I'll tell you right now, they're not watching you, they are watching
Nobody's watching you,
themselves.
but you
But
think
it
that they
is a
are. Yeah.
thing, and I know that
Yeah.
from firsthand experience, and,
Mhm.
so they just feel confident and comfortable and very, um, at ease of trying
Yeah.
new things and being able to lift and figuring out movement patterns. So that
Yeah.
just brings me
Yeah.
so much joy. So those are the things kind of on the horizon. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, I mean, just keep going, really. I think for me, I really want to get more efficient on the business side of things.
Mm.
And so that the first step was kind of hiring that the social media aspect. But even for this podcast,
Yeah.
I want to see things kind of growing. I would like to start it
Yeah.
specifically, maybe this is the episode we do it. Get our
Mhm.
videos out on YouTube, and
Yeah.
you've drug your feet on that one for a long time. From day one, I
I know.
wanted to do recording a
I know.
video. Finally got
I
you on
know.
recording a video. And
Yeah.
so, um, I think people will like to see that aspect of
Mhm.
us too. So, and then just getting better at telling people when we have a new episode and making it,
Yes. Oh, all
so
of that. I
yeah.
know. I
So,
know.
like, that's not
Well,
stuff that we're good at. So
mhm.
I'm gonna hand that
Yeah.
off and figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you out there listening, if you've listened this far, thank you. You are a true friend of the show. But yeah, help us, will you? We are not good at sounding the alarm when we've got episodes out. So if you would be so kind, it really does help us when you forward episodes around, especially episodes that have meant something to you.
mhm.
If there is something that has touched your health journey and pointed you in a positive direction, share it because it helps us, but it also helps you to build your own community. It gives you something that you can talk about, that you can maybe have an accountability partner, and maybe even help someone to regain or recover their health. And I
Mhm.
just can't think of anything more rewarding than that.
I agree. Well,
Mhm.
Andrea, I think this is wrapping up our 100th episode. I'm super
Yes.
proud of
Wow.
us. And
Yeah, me too. Me too. I
and
love you, girl.
I love you too, and
Yeah.
super thankful for you, and just proud of what um just proud of everything. So,
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
but like Andrea said, if you've enjoyed this episode or any other episode, does us a
Yeah.
huge favor of sharing it, but also hitting that follow and subscribe. And
Mhm.
like Andrea mentioned earlier, if there's any episode topics that you would like to have us cover, or maybe there's a person that you would like us to interview, and that we would
Yeah,
reach out to them
that's a
to
great
see if
idea.
they would be on the episode, that would be
Mhm.
also awesome. So definitely give us some feedback there. And also, we like to talk. Obviously, we're a little over an hour and 10 minutes
That's
in.
true.
So,
That's true.
we
But
will
it's
be
our
wrapping
100th
this up.
episode.
But,
Mhm.
do you like the long format? Do you wish that there
Mhm.
were like maybe 15-20 minute episodes? We have tried that. We're very bad at them because we like to
We're
talk.
terrible
But
at that.
we could
Yeah.
probably try a little harder, again, stepping outside
Mhm.
of our comfort zone and doing something.
Mhm.
But do you like the long format? Is it easy to listen to? Or maybe there's some little nugget episodes that we could do
Mhm.
that are just like maybe some things that we've learned or want to share, and they just take a few minutes to share. So let us
Yeah.
know. But as always, we just thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being a part of this journey. And um, hopefully, as always, we are sharing stuff that is beneficial for your life and enhances your life. And yeah, I guess we will catch you on the next episode.
Bye. The content provided in the AA podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The information and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not constitute medical advice.